Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and War is Hell, issue number 1. I do believe this is going to be a one-shot, but of course, if it sells really, really, really well, and there's a lot of clamor over it, they will absolutely bring it back to the shelves. Will that happen? Never say never. Probably not, though. Anyway, let's take a look at this. We got Swing Verboten and War Devil. So there's two different stories in here. Howard Chaykin did the first story with Edgar Delgado on colors, and Ken Bruzenak, geez, on letters. Howard Chaykin did the story and the art. Anyway, here's the thing right here. You can go and check it all out. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, yeah, two stories in here. Swing Verboten was basically just it's like a World War II story of this German pilot who doesn't fully believe in the Nazi ideologue and listens to jazz music. Jazz music, which, mind you, was Negro music, but propagated by the Jews to try and take over the world. Yeah, that's according to oh, what the heck is that moron's name? The Minister of Propaganda in Germany, Nazi Germany, more specifically, Goebbels, right? Goebbels, Joseph Goebbels, the Reich Minister of Propaganda. So, yeah, this guy he really likes that. And this is cool. I actually like this story. It's clearly one of those older Marvel type stories where you're not going to see a bunch of blood and guts and, I don't know, entrail spillage or anything like that, but it's more of a happy sort of story, and an ironic kind of story, where the thing that he loves the most, he loses in order to save the thing that he hates, but it's his duty to do, basically, to carry out. I like that. It's like those stories of irony. I really like stories like that. And it's a shame. If this comic book did continue, I would read this comic book if it continued with stories like that. Because, it's the little moral stories that you're reading. You know what I'm saying? The ones that give you a life lesson at the end, so to speak, that everybody knows, duh. But it's almost like a Twilight Zone thing, with not with the magic, though. You know what I'm saying? There's no time travel or sciencey crazy stuff. There's just, hey man, here you go, and oh wow, did this really happen? I would definitely read something like that. It's cool, and it's Chaykin, for crying out loud. Howard Chaykin, he's always shaking. It's like I love the stuff that he puts out. He's like one of the old guard. You know what I'm saying? And that right there, boom, absolutely love that. This guy, he's. It's not that he's got his finger on the pulse of the old comic book world. He is that old comic book world. It's like if Neil Adams were to come back and just start doing all this old stuff. You know what I'm saying? This is a different monument in the same time period. And absolutely love that. Man, I would definitely read this if those stories were to continue. The next story was interesting. It's a Somali war story. Not a Somali war story, I should say. This happens in Afghanistan, but there's a Somali legend of Jinni Dagan, and I'd have to ask my wife for the exact pronunciation for that, but she's at work. I'm not going to harass her over this. I'm not going to bother over this, but yeah, this, I don't know, it's just some story. Somalis have a lot of mythology, a lot of story, if you could find them, because nothing's written down. You have to actually find a Somali person who could tell you some of these stories and start off with, we would do Once Upon a Time. They're like, Sheko, Sheko, Awe, something like that. I can't remember how it actually starts. Wow, my wife would kill me if I did. If she knew I didn't remember how that starts. But, what do you call it? It's this old story, and it's really down and dirty. It's funny how people complained like crazy over the Batawang, and it was like, even if, most people I think didn't, it's just the people who did complain made a really big noise. Isn't that the way it always works? And it was enough of a big deal that there was like, oh my God, that everybody was talking about it. I don't think anybody's going to be talking about seeing a woman disemboweled with her throat cut in this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the way that, at least in America, it works. Sex, no. Nudity, no. People ripped apart and eviscerated and blood everywhere. It's like, what? That's the way it works. I wonder why we're so violent in this country. But this particular story is just an ode to a story that probably exists in Somali culture. I've never heard of this one. I've heard of a lot of the cool Somali stories. Arawelo, she's an interesting one. Dagder is the most important one. Egal Shaddad, that's actually supposed to be a real story, but it's not. It's just funny. There's a bunch of really cool stories out there that you can go and check out. But this particular one was interesting. I liked the twist at the end. It felt so obvious when I read it, but I was just so engaged in the story that I wasn't trying to think what's going to happen next. I just wanted to read it. So, kudos on both fronts, you know what I'm saying? But, I don't know. If they continued this format, I would continue reading and reviewing War is Hell, because this, I like this, you have one of each story in it. But to be honest, yeah, I do prefer the old style in the beginning. But whatever, man. Whatever. Each your own. Yeah, I got the variant cover. But yeah, there's another one out there. But there are no, like I said in my This Week in Comics, there are no superheroes in this. So there's no invasion of the invaders or anything like that. Anyway, definitely a fun comic book. Without a doubt, a fun comic book. Even if this isn't necessarily your thing, I think that you would still like the comic book. In general, it's just fun, even if it's just as a one-shot. But like I said, I would read it if it was an ongoing. All right, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.